the beginning of every third grade Latin class, I ask the following question: why do we study Latin? And the answer is, we study Latin because it helps us communicate as creatures of God. By learning Latin, we will make connections between multiple languages and subjects, thereby seeing more of God's glory in His creation. Though this probably isn't a complete and exhaustive answer to why we study Latin, it reminds students of their purpose in class. In my talk today, I will further explain in more depth 3 reasons why we teach Latin at CCA. For discipline, for detail, and for life. First, for discipline. So in Latin, the word for student is discipulus, and here is a visual aid. It also can be pronounced discipulus, and you can see that this is where we get our English word for discipline. So discipulus, which means student, pertains, you can think of it having to do with discipline, and then it pertains to diligence and focus. And these are characteristics we hope to develop in your students. So learning Latin takes a lot of discipline because there are many grammar forms to learn, there are many precise noun and verb endings to memorize, and you have to really work hard to get all of those irregular principal parts. Discipline goes hand in hand with self-government. It takes self-government to tend to tedious sentence translations and to do your work when no one else tells you to do it. Robert Henley, a 1950s Jesuit priest and Latin book writer, who was known for his robust teaching of Catholic schoolboys, gives the following instruction to any discipulus beginning their study of Latin. He writes, quote, "When you study at home, go to some place where you will not be disturbed by other people or distracted by the radio. You simply waste time by studying without paying close attention to what you are doing. You will learn more in less time if you really concentrate on your work. You have an exercise to do. When you sit down, do it. Don't fiddle with your papers. Don't look out the window. That exercise is a job to be done, and you are the one to do it now. In this way, you will learn how to concentrate, and the power of concentration is vital to any success. Great lawyers, doctors, engineers, and all successful men need and have the power to concentrate." End quote. This leads to my next point. We learn Latin for detail. With discipline comes, naturally, attention to detail. At the start of every new lesson in 3rd grade, when students get new vocabulary lists, I ask, what do you notice and what observations do you have? Now, sometimes their observations are silly. One time, the word was corona, which means crown, but they said, oh, it looks like coronavirus. And, but other times, they're more insightful. So for example, the word terra, which means land or earth, last week a student said, hey, it looks like territory. And I said, aha, excellent. You're right, territory is an English word that comes from terra. So silly or insightful, these exercises train the mind and the eye to see things, to notice details. Detail in Latin means detail in other areas of life. Biblical exegesis, scientific endeavors, reading, playing, or writing music, running an orderly home, including but not limited to keeping track of when food expires. All of these things take attention to detail. Finally, we teach Latin for life. Some say classical education is all about learning and not about application. But the beauty of a classical mindset is that it enjoys a thing for its own sake, but this enjoyment and time devoted to it inevitably spills into one's life in practical ways. How one thinks shapes how one lives. Learning Latin trains minds to be diligent and meticulous, making multiple connections. It trains minds to communicate and understand language with greater precision and excellence. Who knows what connection your child will make because of Latin? Who knows if they'll even realize that Latin was part of their formation of a love? Perhaps a love of computer programming, Greek, Spanish, biblical exegesis, law, debate, history, linguistics, biology, politics, oration. Who knows? So in conclusion, can your child be faithful with a little Latin? When a student learns Latin, he or she is trained to be a discipulus, disciplined, attentive, and faithful to details, connecting and applying knowledge for the purpose of greater glorifying God in all areas of life.